Okay. Hey, Matt.
Yeah, I'm doing well, Ken. How are you?
Yeah, man. So we're doing it on a different day. Normally we do it on Thursdays. We decided to do it on Wednesday, and we're gonna have probably upload it tonight on Wednesday because
100%
we
it's
want.
going up right after.
Okay, cool. Because
Now that I know how to do it.
after it takes the 10 hours to download and onto Zoom, but
Yeah, after it
I
takes me 2 months to get organized. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Hey, man, that's hey, that you and me both. So so I think we're on episode 6, dude. So real fast, did you upload the other ones?
I uploaded episode 5. I am now going to put up the other ones because it works.
Oh,
So
okay, cool, cool.
so I'll throw
That's
up 1
cool.
through 4 and I'll make sure it says, episode 1,
Yeah,
episode 2.
yeah. So they're in some, yeah, because
Otherwise
people,
it won't
yeah,
make sense. And then it'll be
yeah,
easier from now on because they'll just go up the day we record.
yeah. And we'll have it, and it'll be great. And so I can't wait for Kamala Harris to be sworn in as president, so you can start ripping on.
I'm gonna tear apart. But until then, I'm on the K
Because
train, baby. Woo!
once she becomes president, you can start ripping on
The gloves are off. Hey,
it.
look, if you want me to leave you alone, don't be president.
No,
I
you're right.
won't
No,
fuck
no,
with you.
dude, and I totally agree with you. It's funny you say that because watching the debate last night, my students were saying they both really didn't say anything. I said, no, let's be fair. She said more than him, so I don't like that. They both. I
No.
said she didn't answer everything they said. I said, but
Yeah.
because she was trying to, because
The way
he
nobody
doesn't
ever has.
he doesn't debate fair.
Yeah, I don't think
He's
he's
not.
ever debated. This is the first time.
Yeah.
Normally, it's just rally versus rally, and they bounce up against each other.
Well, his previous debates, he just talks and he talks over people. And, I have to give it to her. She kept her cool. Oh, when she walked on stage, man, that walking on stage, she went into his space. Like, did somebody tell him debate 101 is, you never let anybody, you meet her in the middle or you go into her space. Don't let her into your space.
I missed something on that. My dad actually pointed out, credit to him. He
Yeah.
said, because I thought it was cool that like he shook or she shook his hand and he was thrown off, so he didn't get to do his normal
Yeah.
like pull hand thing. But then
Oh, yeah.
she says, "Hi, I'm Kamala Harris," and my dad pointed out, he's like, she pronounced her name to him right off the
Yeah.
bat, so there could
Oh,
be
yeah.
no questions. And I didn't even think of that. I was like, that's a brilliant move. That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
That I noticed that too when she did that. I said her whole thing of going over there because when he went on stage, he was trying to do a bob and weave, and she said, "No, I'm gonna meet you." So she
Right
cut
up.
across the
Exactly.
stage,
Yeah.
went straight, and she said, "And you heard her." He mumbled.
He wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, no, he yeah. I was watching a clip from The View earlier, and Chris Christie was on there. That's why I was watching. I wanted to see Chris Christie's view, and they asked one of
Chris
those
Christie's
ladies.
view. It's the
No,
beach
no,
when no one else
because
can go on it.
no, because he's an attorney, and I
No,
want to
no,
know
I
what he.
got you. I got you.
Yeah,
Let me
so
dig. I gotta take
you
Christie
got
punches.
stabbed at Chris Christie,
Come on
kind of
now.
like John Stewart was going after. I guess was it Dick Cheney last night? John Stewart was ripping Dick Cheney apart. I was like,
All
God
right,
dang, dude!
good.
Like,
Yeah,
like
rip
it's
them.
been 20 years.
We're
Let
gonna
it
get to
go.
Dick Cheney in a minute, so
I
let me
know.
let
Yeah,
me
yeah.
let me
We'll get
let
there.
you.
So yeah, we'll get there. We'll get. But yeah. So when she went on stage, she walked across the stage. She shook his hand. She said, "Hi, Kamala Harris, nice to meet you." He blah blah blah, and she said,
Yeah.
"Let's have a good debate." That's what she said.
Right, right, right.
Kamala Harris, let's have a good debate. He blah blah blah, whatever he
He had
mumbled.
nothing prepared. He only
Well,
has. There's certain
yeah,
words in his holster that he can't let fly. But he was ready to say something that started with blah 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 blah.
yeah, yeah. No, he was on one. One thing she said I like that she said, in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a
Which
bunch of
was
lies, grievances,
bore
and
out
name
true.
calling.
Yep.
Yeah. To which he replies, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan. It's like four
That's her
sentences long.
boss. And
Like run spot run. That's what I was like. This guy is an idiot.
if I had
Like
to like look at her, like just the way she conducted herself, and then extrapolate what her PR team, what I don't want to take credit from her. It's not her PR. What she and
no,
her team like
no,
prepared
yeah,
the way they did,
yeah,
it bore out in the results. And I'm not just going to sit here and glaze her and say, it's the best debate I've ever seen. I have my gripes, but like
yeah,
she opened up. The first question was, you know, are you better off economy stuff? And she went right into it.
yeah,
Whether or not we can talk about, the programs and promises will be kept or whatever the fuck. She went
yeah,
right into it. She said a bunch of numbers. things people can hear. Children, $6,000 tax credit, saying it. Yeah. And it was just like, here it is. And then Trump responded with his tariff spiel, which we've heard. And so I was always thinking of it like in terms of what are his fans hearing? Now, of course, they're just going to hear gold. They're going to try to spin gold out of it. But I know that they're like, oh, the tariffs thing, that was never fun. He can't dip into his fun repertoire unless he's baited into doing it, which he was, but that's the whole Haitian thing. She baited him. I can't praise her enough for the
baiting. You got to thank Hillary Clinton for that. That was all Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton gave her the 411 on how to piss Donald Trump off, he fell right into it. But one thing he did say was he said she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago or 4 years ago is out the window. She's going into my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. I thought that was, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was funny when he said it, but I was like,
but it doesn't make his case. I get that he thinks it's a zinger. It's like, okay, if she is just like you, let's vote for her. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really like, oh, okay, well, if she's the same, fuck it then.
Well, and also, I think also a sign of a good leader is knowing when you can change. Like, I had this thought on this 5-10 years ago, but now that I'm vice president, I see how things actually run when you are in this position. Look, one thing she did say to him was, first of all, it's important to remind the former president, you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
Yeah, it was nice.
A lot of what he was saying was Joe Biden. It was like, we need Joe Biden back because Donald Trump needs Joe Biden. He was not prepared. One thing I learned from this was you cannot walk into a debate, especially with did somebody tell him? Because, well, let me go back. First of all, Donald Trump kept saying she was stupid and dumb. Mm-hmm. And I was telling my students, I was like, that's one thing that sticks with Black people.
You watched the debate with your students at the night?
No, I didn't. No. I was talking about my students today. We were discussing the debate. We were doing kind of like what we're doing. We were doing a little after. And I said, and I was telling him, I was like, he had this belief she was stupid and dumb because this is what he was telling people. He was saying it everywhere. Everything I'm saying is nothing. I'm not making this up.
No, yeah.
But I wanted my students to know I'm not making. These are things he said. We can YouTube it, and you guys can hear him say it.
Yeah.
And what I said and what he learned last night, I said, look, Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, the governor of DeSantis, the governor of Florida. I mean, Carly Fiorina. I mean,
remember her?
Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden. I mean, Ben Carson. They were all Donald Trump. Really steamrolled over them in the debate to where people were questioning their debate skill.
Nobody had any. Yeah, they didn't have the ability. He came in crazy, and nobody was prepared for a lack of decorum. They had nothing to say to him.
Kamala Harris, like she whooped his ass last night. She did. It's like she said to Donald Trump, "Go out." Like she's his mama. Like when I was a kid, my grandma would say, "Go get a switch," which is a long stick, the thin one. Get a switch. And you go out there, and it was like he went to get a switch. He brought the switch back, and she proceeded to whoop his ass in that debate. He
without a doubt
had nothing. He just had nothing.
And I mean, it bore on every question. I was counting. It was like the classic bingo thing, but I didn't expect the bingo kept landing on immigration for him. Every single thing. And to her credit, again, Kamala called him out, said, you're going to hear a lot about immigration, even when it's not asked. And that bore fruit. It was like every question I would make a little mark. Well, I'm not going to sit here and go through my notes. That would be stupid. But like, it was often, it was remarkable, as in I remarked to myself about it, how often he went to immigration because he started to rallyify, especially after that first ad break. I think he felt like he was having a back and forth with her before the ad break. And right before that ad break, she hit him with one line that I can't remember which one it was, but it was also, he'd been fact checked a couple times by
by the moderators,
by Muir, Rachel Lindsay,
David Muir,
they
who did a great job.
They did a great job. So he was kind of, I could see he was like, ooh, ooh. And I was like, he's going to go off script. He's going to go off script because he was trying to keep it together. And after that ad break, he started, she mentioned his rallies. She said, your rally sizes are small.
Yeah.
And he started talking he was at a rally. It was crazy.
Let's read her comment. She said,
yeah, please.
What you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies because she was encouraging. She said, everybody, I'm going to do something different. Everybody should go to one of his rallies. I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will hear him talk about him, talk about all your, you will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, your desires. I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who will actually put you first. And then, and he like lost it because she said the exhaustion and boredom. He says, people don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies. It's incredible rallies in history.
He jumped over David Muir because David Muir was like, I'm going to ask you about immigration. Don't worry. He was like, let me get back to these fucking rallies, dude.
Yeah. Well, he said our country's being lost.
Yeah. It's just flailing.
His doom and gloom was amazing. But one thing he did say that got me was, and you said they fact checked him. I'm looking for that comment because I wrote down a lot. I was doing the comments too. I was like,
furiously like
this guy. I mean, but dude, this guy, he was off the chain. Oh, he said they allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country and to think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes. But it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done.
Is that the bit where he says it was like a Mad Libs, the transgender criminal, or they're paying for transgender immigrant criminals sex surgeries or some.
Oh, he was, dude.
It was the most amazing connection of lies.
Yeah, no, but he mentioned transgender giving.
I wrote it down because it was the
surgery to illegal immigrants who transgender illegal immigrants in prison. That's what they're doing, giving free surgeries. He was on one with undocumented people. He was on one, like he was going after it just kept like he kept going like undocumented, just bad mouthing undocumented people. And this is the one thing she said, which I love, because he kept talking about undocumented and the Haitian people and the dogs. But she said,
we need to talk about that fresh racism.
Yeah. So she said, I think this is rich coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentence.
It was a nice blow. It was just a series of repetitive blows. It was great.
Oh, it was like, I remember when, I don't know if you ever had it, but when you had Nintendo or Nintendo's like 64 back in the old days.
I'm aware of the
they had Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson Punch Out. Yeah. And then they had to change it
Mike Tyson, and it was you, the little guy. It looked like,
what was his name? Little Joe.
Yeah, I wasn't okay. I can't remember his name, but it was so good that she kicked his ass. All I can keep saying is Kamala Harris kicked Donald Trump's ass.
It was interesting to see where she was pulling from. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're right.
She went like on immigration when it was finally time to talk about it. You know, I expected her to be hawkish.
Yeah.
And she was, and I can just see my future criticisms of her. What it's going to be. I don't expect.
Well, this is the thing. I think because we talked about that too. Because one of my students said she starts out very progressive, then she starts going into a centrist. And I said because, and I finally had to explain to him. He said, "Why is that?" Because she's not playing to you progressives in California. She understands she's not trying to win millions of votes. She's trying to win 270 electoral votes. And those go through Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. This is what got Hillary Clinton in trouble. you got to. I said she's playing for those electoral college votes. She's not playing.
You're not going
for
to tell me
men.
Hillary Clinton was too progressive.
No, not no. Hillary Clinton back in the '90s was before Bernie Sanders.
Well, I
stabbed
mean, it was a
no,
different
hold
standard
on.
of progressive.
He was before Bernie Sanders.
This is
stabbed her in the
not a
back.
chance to Bernie bash.
No, yeah,
that
no,
that
this-
old
this
man
is-
isn't bothering
because
anybody.
Bernie Sanders worked with her in the '90s on the health care and all those men.
There's no, it's just uncalled for.
those men who
Uncalled
stood
for
behind-
Bernie bashing
all
out
those
of
men who
nowhere.
stood
Bernie,
behind her,
where's
all
my dog?
those men who stood behind Hillary Clinton, as they dogged her out, as the Republicans went after her, none of those men stood up for her. They all dogged her out.
and I congratulate them for not standing up for her.
No, they should have, because yeah, that's typical of those men. I was like, well, that's typical of Bernie Sanders anyway. Because he's always
See, this is unwarranted attacks.
Mr. I march with Martin Luther King. It's like, yeah, King didn't even know your ass, and you only
All
march
right, man.
because you're the oldest person.
You're right. He's not an ally. We don't want him in our corner.
Well, really, don't get me started on that, because he really isn't. I'm sorry. You don't white flight it to the whitest state in America and talk about you're an ally. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. I can't with him. He's too much.
Bernie
much.
Sanders likes everything I like, but he lives in Vermont, so I don't like
Yeah,
him.
the whitest
Good
state in America.
blurk,
Yeah.
skadurp, burp,
Yeah, he
fadurp.
can't-
It's a bad
he-
argument. Put it to bed.
He had his first job at 40, had his first full-time job at 40. That was an
I'm
elected
41
position.
and I'm not even like
Whatever.
trying.
You served your nation. He was doing, he wasn't, whatever. He was, whatever. I just think the man's a joke person. That's my own personal opinion.
Well,
watch you gonna get him as a guest. Hey,
that'd
Bernie,
be dope. Oh my God, you're not invited. That's going to be a glaze fest right there. Oh my God. Bernie,
because I would be
you
asking the
named my
hard
dog
question.
after you. Yeah.
Why did you I
Can
know you
we
would-
get back to Trump,
I-
please?
and I would be asking, no, I want to get this out. While you're saying, talk about your dog, name your dog after him, I'll be asking, why did you ride on the coattails of MLK when we know you did not know MLK?
Everybody else is riding on the coattails of David Duke, and you're complaining about riding on.
That's right. I am.
Ride on the
Because the burner, because the burner, I will never forgive them for going after John Lewis, who was actually a lieutenant of MLK's. That's
Yeah. Who went after John Lewis?
the burner bros.
No, they did not. This
Yes,
is
they
another
did.
smear. Who
Yes,
told you
they
that?
did.
Hillary,
Yes,
she's like, Bernie doesn't like the
Because
blacks.
when he said that Bernie Sanders was not, King did not know Bernie, they went off, and he was right. King didn't. I'm so messing with you, man.
This is ass.
Let's get back to Bernie and Donald Trump. Something we both agree on.
Please.
Just
What
so
an
messed up.
interlude.
That's right. Yeah, one of my little rants. Because I was watching Designing Women the other day. What's her name?
Oh, yeah.
Julia Sugarbaker does that a lot. So one night I was just watching like 6 episodes. I said she always has these little rants in these episodes.
Speaking of designing women and their futures, abortion.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, it's funny. That's why I was watching. The students say you should watch it because they talk about topical stuff. I was like, that show came on back in the 80s. And
Well, it was topical in the 80s.
But isn't that what's weird? Is because of Donald Trump and those conservatives, they have pushed us so far back. We're taking up causes that the women on Designing Women fought over.
I'm saying, yes. I'm like, I'm watching like anything you watch, like marriage equality. You're like, ooh, they can use those same jokes again pretty soon about like on Will and Grace about not being able to get married. It's
yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned Will and Grace, because that's who Joe Biden said was the reason why he started changing towards LGBTQ.
Which should tell you a lot about his politics. He's a fucking idiot.
Well, no.
Will and Grace changed your mind? You saw gays on TV?
Come on, dude, stop. Come on, man. You know it does. Hollywood does make things. When Hollywood, if it
Hollywood
does
makes the average person think this guy's running for the top job again.
No.
Lack of qualifications are immense.
But Hollywood does, and you
it
need
does.
to stop.
I don't design that.
Yeah,
he needs to stop, and he did.
When we watched Sidney Poitier back in the 60s, he was acceptable. So as he becomes acceptable, other black people became acceptable, like Bill Cosby.
Is that what did it for Joe Biden too?
Well,
was it Sidney Poitier?
I'm just making a point. Hollywood does change the perspective, the values.
It certainly does. It just for me, it speaks about Joe Biden that it took a show in the 90s and aughts for him to go, well, I guess gays are okay.
But it did it for me. because
Okay,
that's what
well done.
Will and Grace did it for me too. And I was raised in L.A.
Well, I
It
didn't know
did.
you
I
were
was like,
such a
oh,
bigoted, terrible man.
yeah. Well, I used to be super religious, so yeah.
Oh, well, okay, that explains it. You get a
That's
pass.
right. No,
I understand.
and I'm telling you, I could one day we'll spend the podcast, and I'll tell you what really converted me was Katrina, and they put us in partners with people, and you didn't have a choice who you're a partner with, and the guy was LGBTQ, and we did everything together for about 3 months, and in the 3 months he never hit on me. I mean,
Right.
we just
Yeah.
had a yeah,
Which is a little insulting.
I know I was mad. I said, "Why didn't you hit on me?"
As that's
He's like,
interesting.
"Because you're not attractive, you asshole."
Oh, fuck.
I'm just joking. No, that's not why. No, I never asked him either. But
Yeah,
anyway, but no,
that's very interesting.
there were some things in there, like he talked about Russia. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They
Only
talk about,
time he referenced the assassination attempt, which I thought,
yeah, they say
why
I'm
didn't he
a threat
capitalize?
to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with all the fake Russia
Yeah,
investigation
not
that went
you,
nowhere.
not you.
But let's talk about that because that Russia investigation actually did go somewhere,
Right.
and
But if
people
you ask
actually
the average on the fence or Trump supporter, they'll tell
Republican,
you that it did not because they simply said it did not when it did. It
yeah,
doesn't matter.
well, because Donald Trump said it did not, and that's
Right.
what a lot of
So
the problem is.
sometimes his alternate reality is able to manifest and sometimes it is not. And one of those nights where it was
Yeah,
not able to manifest was during the debate. He could not do
yeah,
it. But sometimes
yeah.
he's able
No,
to create his own reality where the Russian investigation
well,
bore no fruit.
sometimes, man, it seems like he's creating it all the time. Like he spent the whole
He had a
night
good
on.
run. Yeah. He had a real good run.
Yeah, he spent the. Somebody was saying he's like like they were comparing Donald Trump to a TV show. They were like, he's in his 9th season. The first season, it was really funny. Everybody loved it. But now you're in the 9th season. And usually in the 9th season of TV shows, it just because they recycled the storylines, they recycle everything.
Yeah, everybody's fucking everybody, and you can.
Yeah, and it's just over, and people are tired of it. And that's one thing Kamala Harris kept saying. People are tired of the behavior. People are tired of, and that was another discussion I had with the student in class today. Because when I asked, so in one of my classes today, I said to the students, I said, let's talk about the debate. So that's instead of a lecture, we only did the debate. And I said, let's discuss the debate.
That's what we're doing instead of a show.
This one student went on this tirade about NATO and Donald Trump and NATO, and the reason why they don't like him because NATO don't do their part. And I was like, do you understand what NATO is? Do you know how NATO came about? NATO is an organization, it's an alliance, but who runs NATO? And he's like, I don't know. I said, the head of NATO is an American general. I said, the way the structure of NATO and in their policies is only an American can lead NATO. So maybe the other countries don't want to send all their troops in because they're always subservient to the United States. NATO came about after the Second World War, where basically all of Europe was bankrupt. The United States was a superpower. The United States really pushed their will, and Western Europe had no choice but to come to the United States. Or as what's his name? What was the British Prime Minister at the time? Winston Churchill said, "There's an iron curtain that's descended upon Eastern Europe." And Russia was literally expanding. And so to contain Russia, the United States formed this North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Or at least it was the rationale they gave.
Yeah. I said, and how it runs is the United States pretty much controls NATO. Yeah. So the American, whoever the general is over NATO, who runs NATO, is an American at all times.
It's a bit, it'd be it's a nice country. You got there, shame if something happened to it. Kind of a situation.
Yeah. So I was explaining that to him. Yeah. So I said, but we're not talking about NATO. I'm asking you about the debate last night. What happened at the debate? But at this point I was annoyed with him because I was like, first of all, you're making it seem like Donald Trump is the victim in all this. Donald Trump is no victim. Donald Trump has made fun of disabled people. Donald Trump has called black women bitches, whores, and they're stupid. Kamala Harris. I said, if I called your mother stupid, she's a bitch, she's a whore, she's a stupid, what would you do? He said, I want to fight you. Exactly. So why are you giving Donald Trump a pass? And he just looked and he was just.
But it's part and parcel with the philosophy. It's the victimhood is part of, because you have to, in order to attack and justify your attack, you must be on the defense. Hello, Israel, I'm talking to you. Yeah, so right, that's what they do. is they say like, oh, it was you knew Donald Trump knew he did badly when he ran around to all the news stations and he said how unfair it was.
Yeah.
You know, you're
No, you're
blaming
right.
the refs, bro, because you know you got walloped. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
But so that victimhood thing, it can't be that he lost. It must be that someone did something. He
Oh,
didn't
that was
lose the
one of,
election.
yeah.
There was a thing. They did a what's that the name of that company that it would have sounded funny what I said if I remember the name of the company that did the voting machines.
Well, one thing she did say that I like since you brought up how he lost, she
Yeah.
said Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people.
Oh,
So
his
let's
eyes
be
got
clear
big.
about that. Clearly, he is having a very difficult time processing that.
Oh, it was
I
such a
was
good
like,
line.
oh, I know. I was like, she slam dunked on his butt. He didn't know what to do. I'm telling you, like, she started off kind of slow. She did.
Yeah,
The
I'm telling
first,
you, after that ad break, it was fucking game
yeah,
on. Before that, it was. I feel like it wasn't a decent back and forth. She was still hitting him hard. He just didn't know it. I feel like he felt like he was in the game. But
yeah,
after that ad break, he realized he was outclassed, and it was just like,
yeah.
fuck, when is
Oh,
this going
yeah.
to be over, man?
Yeah, no, no. Yeah, it was, yeah,
His
it
bottom lip
was,
was spitty. He had a spitty lip. He was
well,
mad.
well, oh no, yeah, he was, and I mean, dude, like, he was just upset. Like, the bet, what was your favorite comment of the night? Because mine was the one where she talked about his crimes. That
Yeah.
was she said, I think that is rich coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes. I was like, damn. And she brought up the Central Park Five. I
Yeah.
thought that was important because
The
then he
exonerated
pushed.
five.
Yeah, well, she said Central Park.
I
Most
know.
people
No,
don't know.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we in the black community we do say exonerated, but she knew who she was talking to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when he pushed back, he sat there and said, "You're bringing up all this stuff because remember she talked about how you would rip to black people. She was going at it. He's like she's bringing up all this stuff from 30, 40 years ago. She also brought up Barack Obama and how he attacked Barack Obama, and he was like, she bringing up all this stuff from 40 years ago. I was like, no, Barack Obama was just like not even 20 years ago. What are you talking about, bro?
He can't. There's no. It's just before.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Trump
so
doesn't talk in actualities. He talks in you
yeah.
know,
No, well, no, you're right. You're
it's
right.
like
And
it's to the side of reality.
no, no, dude, it was good. I was just low. I That was my favorite comment. So, what was your favorite comment?
My favorite comment would probably, if I have to pick, um, my favorite comments came from Trump
Okay,
because
yeah, yeah,
because he would. So if I have to give like who made the best comment, it's got to be Kamala Harris, and it's when she slipped in the Wharton School. She didn't say
yeah.
like
Oh,
you're
that's
dumb
right.
and you went to Wharton and they didn't like you. She was saying
He said
I've
Goldman
actually
Sachs, and
talked to
then
a
she
lot of
said, "That's right."
economists and some from the
Yeah,
Wharton School, Wharton economists and other world leading economists have said that your economic plan is blah 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 is not good enough.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. Oh,
he,
he was.
I know that the word Wharton just hit him right in the center of the forehead, and I was like,
Yeah,
I wonder if he'll take the bait like he does every time. And he did. He did. He
yeah,
was like, I
yeah.
went to
No,
Wharton. It was the first thing he said. He like fucking fumbled out of his
yeah,
seat and shit.
yeah,
Also, but the best comment of
yeah,
the night was made by Donald Trump because he was speaking out of turn. They'd already said it was final and it was done. He was supposed to walk off, but he couldn't stop talking, and he put his arms on the podium and he said, and he was trying to say like she will be the worst president of the United States in history, but it got drowned out because they were like, why are you still talking, what the fuck? And so all you heard was him lean down and go, the worst president in history. And I was like, that just needs to be the fucking picture. Yes,
you
yes,
history, history,
nailed
history.
it, bro. Yeah, yeah, just in history with the slow down, and the zoom in. Because he just was like, yes, because it was all projection all night. She every time she would say something like, a great example was, he said, she said, you had a lot of shitty people in your administration. You said you could hire good people. You hired crappy people. And he's like, oh, well, we had bad people but we got rid of them, unlike you guys, which is a weird thing to say to the VP
Yeah,
who's standing
yeah,
in for the incumbent who has just abdicated, doing the, he stepped down from the
yeah.
campaign. So it's like,
Well, and
they
well,
literally like, wow. Anyway.
and Joe Biden doesn't like her. Remember, Joe
Oh, right.
Biden
Of
doesn't
course. Don't
like her.
forget that Joe Biden
Joe
doesn't like
Biden,
her.
and where is Joe Biden? Joe Biden, you can't find Joe Biden. But it was funny because this morning they were doing the 9/11 and low off topic, but because he kept talking about Joe Biden, you can't find him. He's old, you can't find him, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I was thinking this morning, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden showed up at the 9/11 memorial tribute this morning. Donald Trump was already there. It was funny because it was it was JD Vance, Donald Trump, Michael Bloomberg, who I was shocked that because Donald Trump and Michael Bloomberg go at it. In fact, Michael Bloomberg spent hundreds of millions of dollars to make sure Donald Trump didn't win the last election.
Yes, it was Michael Bloomberg. Not because of that.
Oh yeah, Mike. Well,
that's a whole discussion about stop and frisk and its expansion.
No. Well, yeah, no, and let's be clear, it preceded Michael Bloomberg.
Fuck yeah, it just exploded under him.
But let's stick on point. I want to stick on the point of Donald Trump.
Yes. Sorry.
Because I actually do like Michael Bloomberg for this very reason, because it's pissed off Donald Trump.
I can't wait to have a taekwondo fight about that.
Because Donald Trump would talk about how short Michael Bloomberg is. Michael Bloomberg would tell Donald Trump, you're just not a real billionaire. Because Michael Bloomberg's worth about what, 50, 60 billion dollars? Donald Trump, he would always tell Donald Trump, you're just not a real billionaire. So, you talk about Donald Trump's money, Donald Trump just does not like it.
Welcome to the state of American discourse.
One thing Donald Trump did say that he tried to be funny, but it didn't land very well. When Kamala Harris tried to interrupt him, he said, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, he tried to call it back.
Yeah.
That's not going to fly.
And it was funny because I was doing a watch party with some students, and they were like, what does that mean?
Right.
And I was like,
you would have had to seen the previous debates and watched them closely enough. You have to be like a fucking hardcore political head to even get that joke, and it's not good.
Yeah.
If you get that joke, it's not good.
Exactly. It was funny.
What the fuck?
It was funny 4 years ago. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And to me, it was funny 4 years ago when she said, Mr. Vice President, I'm talking. And it was funny because just the way she was talking to Mike Pence.
Yeah. And it's a woman speaking to a man, which simply has a different tenor.
Yeah. No.
A man saying, you don't be talking. That does not. If that hits everybody in a certain way, that is unpleasant.
Well, and let's be clear, Donald Trump did interrupt her a couple of times.
Fucking yes.
He interrupted a lot of people. He was interrupting my understanding is he did 39 minutes of talking. She did like 27.
Yeah, it was less, and great, because what did Napoleon say? When your enemy's making a mistake, don't interrupt.
Yeah, no, and because she stepped back at one point when he started talking about the dogs and the cats.
Oh yeah. I was shocked. That was the most shocked I was, because I had just found out about that story. It was like, some weird right winger was at a town hall meeting in Pennsylvania, and I saw the video. Oh, and his name, I didn't pick up on this. They were like bringing his name was Nathaniel, and then his last name was Iggr. See what he did? His first initial was N. He's very clever, aren't they? Aren't they a riot?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know what his real name is, but that's what his nom de plume that day was. And he so he says, all these Haitian immigrants. Now I think that area has like it's gone from maybe 2.3 to 2.4%. All these Haitian immigrants are legal immigrants. And there's several news stories from the area how they're a boon to the community around them.
I'm about saying they're not criminals. They're probably living there.
Much to the contrary. A lot of the factories have been able to reopen and America. We could talk about how America only values people by their labor, but
because the data shown immigrants, period. They come here to literally work, and they're usually doing jobs that you and I don't. Well, you're an immigrant. You're usually doing jobs that I don't want to do. I don't want to do. Like the black jobs of being working in the fields that the Mexicans are stealing from black people.
Those black jobs. I was in the black white pages looking for black jobs. It was so hard to read. It was.
It's fun. No, it was funny that's what's going on. Hold on. Okay, it's still there. I got my Kamala Harris flag outside. I want to make sure nobody be trying to take it. So, because somebody take it, we're gonna be fighting on this flag. You're gonna be like, why is there sirens out there?
Ken, if somebody takes your Kamala Harris
you're gonna
flag,
carry it over the fence?
No, that person is armed. Just get another flag. Okay.
No, if they
Yes.
stole my flag, I'm gonna find out where they live, and we're gonna do LA 1992, where it all burned down. It's
We're
gonna be
just gonna
that
go beat up Koreans. What are you talking about? What the
no,
fuck?
no, not at all. No, we're gonna destroy their house. No, just joking. I'm just messing with you. No, I don't think anybody
I
would
hope
say
so.
that.
You got me
No,
scared
no.
now.
You know what? Honestly, in our neighborhood, there's quite a few Harris walls. I'm surprised. There's quite a few. If you look, like the reason
No,
why
I know.
reason I bought the sign was because the neighbor straight down my street going straight, and like you keep driving, you run into their house. They got a big one in their window. I was like, oh,
Nice.
there's
Yeah.
more. So yeah, no, I'm
On
surprised.
ours, we have also the ones that say like, in this house we
Yeah,
believe that all or not all lives.
yeah, no, yeah,
Black lives.
Black
It says yeah.
LGBTQ. Yeah,
Right,
you have that on
right.
your block. I think
Yeah.
there's a couple houses on your block that does that. So
Yeah, we don't have any Trump flags on the block.
no, I'm surprised because we do in this, like they do those.
Oh no, they
parades.
drive by in the big truck. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
They do. No, I'm
they're out there.
They were no, it's real.
Trump supporters are like vegans, man. They're gonna let you know what they're about. Vegans,
Well,
marathon runners, Trump supporters. The meme.
Well, I didn't buy my flag. I told somebody. I told quite a few people. I said I think it's weird that people buy flags.
I agree.
And
I have
I
two
think
on my arm. It's embarrassing.
yeah, no, I'm sorry, not the American. I'm not talking about the American. I'm talking
Well,
about
the American
people,
flag means something different nowadays. You're kind of making
Donald
a different
Trump
statement.
and
Oh yeah.
Harris. So when I said that somebody had a flag delivered, I'm not getting rid of my flag. I like my flag.
I hear
I
you.
have students giving me weed flags before. People giving me. I got one student who gave me a gold Donald Trump coin that the U.S. Mint made. I have it in my drawer. No, I mean when
That's
people give
cool.
me,
I mean, fuck yeah, I'll put that up.
yeah,
I've
when
got a
people give
buddy
me,
that you've met who's got he's got a whole wall of like goofy Trump memorabilia. Like
okay, I thought you were
got the
gonna
actual
say
Trump
Nazi.
toilet paper and stuff.
I
It's
thought
funny.
you were gonna say Nazi memorabilia.
No, the opposite of that. The opposite of that. He's
Yeah.
got fun memorabilia, not creepy grandpa memorabilia.
Yeah,
No, he's a very cool dude.
that Nazi war treasure. It's like, oh, that's great. But oh, one thing he said that I had me cracking up too. He said when they were talking about his foreign, like, because I think she said something along the lines of, oh, it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because
Great point she
they're
made
so
there.
clear
Yeah,
that you can be manipulated with flattery and favors.
I was
And
really
he said,
enjoying
look,
that tack.
yeah, no, she came for him. He said, look, Viktor Orban said it.
Hey,
He said,
he
"I'm
immediately.
the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. Like,
I love that. She's like, you cozy up to dictators. And he's like, Viktor Orban is my fucking roll dog. It's
yeah,
the
like
weirdest
he's
shit.
like the Mussolini of
I'm
Hungary.
hungry. Yeah,
So-
man.
so
He's
he goes
hungry
to-
for fascism. He's crazy.
Yeah, it's like what I don't understand. Like, dude, what is that about? Like, what is that about with and I'm not saying conservatives. I want to be clear. I want
No,
to make
fascists love fascists.
but
He's a fascist.
MAGA. So you're saying MAGA?
MAG is a fascist movement.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
I don't see any other way to see it. I mean,
okay,
how
yeah.
else? Who else but a fascist movement could have two flags on their truck? One that says "Don't tread on me" and the thin blue line flag. Like
Yeah,
you must be saying specifically tread not on me. Anybody else though you tread on, which is a like textbook fascist point of view. Is that everybody else is fodder for police violence or state violence except for myself and those I care about. That's fascism. Yeah. All that matters is the nation.
No, and you're right. No, I also the part when they talked about Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That was good too, when they kind of went back and forth, because people don't realize Donald Trump played it. That agreement was Donald Trump's agreement. He invited the Taliban to Camp David, which that was crazy. And
that was, look, if I'll ever put a feather in Trump's cap, that's one. Because that's not the same as visiting Kim Jong-un in North Korea. It's not the same dynamic where he's giving them things. I was like, wow, somebody actually, it took an idiot to bring the Taliban to the negotiating table, but somebody finally fucking did it.
But yeah,
they did it wrong. An idiot did it.
No. But they didn't need to come to the United States. They could have met in Switzerland. He could have got
whatever. I don't give a fuck.
I do.
Yeah, I hear you.
No, they were in allegiance with the group that flew planes into buildings in the United States.
So are we.
Yeah, I don't care. Again,
Well, I mean, like it was
I
Saudi
understand that.
Arabia. We were
I
like
understand that.
touching
Whatever.
globes.
I'm talking about what they did to us. And look, he could have met with them in Switzerland. There's other places they could have met in a third party country.
All right, cool. We
And
disagree
had
with
that.
the location.
Yeah, no, to me, no, because that does to me
And
that
he's a
matters.
real estate agent. You'd think he'd know.
Yeah, well, to me that definitely matters. I
Fair
didn't
enough.
have a
Fair enough.
problem with him meeting with the Taliban. Is where
Yeah.
he met them at.
All right, that's
Why
fair.
would you? Why would you bring a terrorist organization onto U.S. soil? Like he could have met him at Guantanamo Bay. I don't care where you met him. Just it shouldn't be within the 50 states or
All
Puerto
right.
Rico. That's all I'm saying.
Get off this, Ken. Let's move on.
Yeah, no, because it was a big deal. It's like
I hear
like
you.
this guy is I mean, he's like he doesn't think. Now the
No,
only
he's an
problem I
idiot.
have
He's a fucking moron.
when Kamala Harris said, "I will tell you, I agree with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan," and I agree with that. Former president says they wouldn't. Joe Biden did. I agree with it. I don't. It was the way it was done because
I don't think it was ever going to be done well. That's always going to be mine.
Well, no, and you're right because the Trump administration. One thing that nobody ever talks about is the Trump when it came to the transfer of power. There was never no transfer of power. So there was never all there was that Joe Biden knew was there was agreement we have to be out by this date, which he wasn't. So he was illegally still in a country that the United States had already agreed to pull out by a certain date. Remember, he stayed an extra 30 days. And the Taliban did say you got 30 days. They gave him the 30 days, and that's why everybody's rushing out at the last minute because
it takes longer than a month to move. My last deployment we moved one small, like don't think of a base. It's a cop. It kept 100 people. Not and it took several months to get that stuff cleaned and moved, and then you got to drive it to Kandahar. It's a whole fucking thing. You got to
process. Yeah.
It's a whole thing. It doesn't happen in a month. You don't move shit in a month.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It takes a month to rotate a unit in and out of the country you're in, let alone.
Really? Well, see, I just knew that just based off of how you move, like just regular moving your house, it's easier to unload stuff than it is to load it up.
Right. Well, just imagine that you need to live in the house you're living in, and you need to live in the house you're about to live in, and in between the two houses is a war zone. So, I mean, that's it, that you got to do that. And it's not it's not that it sounds dangerous. It's just that it is a massive logistical undertaking that anybody who says we can bang this out in 30 days is probably the president of the United States, because that's the only person who would say something that stupid, something like, hey, we're going to be in and out of Iraq in a year or two or some shit like that. So it was just whose face was this egg gonna hit? Who's gonna take the hit? Biden took the hit, said I'll look stupid for a while. Why not?
Yeah, no, it was just, he had no choice. Again, there was
he could have not pulled out. He could have said, fuck it.
No, he could not have. There's an agreement. No.
Who's going to enforce that agreement if he backs out? Who?
Dude, you cannot sit there and say we stand for all this stuff. And
no. I'm not saying we should have backed out of that.
They're literally breaking the law.
What would have stopped him? I'm not saying he should have backed out or that it's
but then I'm glad because Joe Biden.
Of course, I'm glad he left when he did. But what I'm asking is, what would have stopped him from? I don't know what apparatus would have stopped it. If Joe Biden had decided to stay in Afghanistan, what the fuck would have kept him from doing so? I can't imagine the process.
No, and I hear you. I'm just sitting there saying that he does be breaking the law. You can't be all about not breaking the law, and we stand for truth, justice, in the American way, and you proceeding to break the law. It's like, dude, that it doesn't play well. Another thing I thought was funny was when she told Donald Trump. Because we're going to get to the abortion, but I wanted to talk about the endorsements.
Hey, man, you can wait till the 9th month to get to the abortion if you want.
I think one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And he says, I fired most of those people, not so graciously. They did not. They did bad things or a bad job. And I thought Maddox, McMaster's, and Kelly, all these generals did a bad job.
Nobody can name them. You can name them, but nobody
Yeah,
that thinks nobody who thinks they did a bad job because he said it can name those men.
yeah. Well, because we're you and I, because you knew who they were.
Yeah.
Kelly and McMaster was his national security advisor. Kelly was his chief of staff.
Yep.
Maddox was his secretary of defense.
Mad Dog
And
Maddox of the Marines.
my understanding of Maddox was he was very popular. Like people love Maddox.
He was popular. Like anytime a general has a nickname, he's got some Mad Dog Maddox. So he had a reputation, and it served him well in the military. I don't know what he got the reputation for, knowing what people get reputations for in the military.
Yeah. I had students who were in my class and they were talking about it.
Mm.
They were like, "Oh, we like Mad Dog more than we like Trump," and they were Trumpers. I was like, "Oh, really?"
What has Mad Dog ever done that they know about? He has a nickname. I'll bet that's why they like him.
Yeah, because other people said it, right? So I mean,
right.
usually
the Marines in its entirety is a goddamn PR campaign. It's incredible.
Yeah.
That's just my Army branch anger.
No, the one thing he said that I thought was funny was on the abortion was he said they have abortions, and this is what this. So when I first started watching, I'll be honest, I wasn't really all into it. So I just thought it started off kind of. I was like, okay, it's starting out kind of boring. And like you said, they went to a commercial. When he brought up the abortion, he said they want to have abortion 7th month, 8th month, 9th month. They want to have abortion after the baby's born. And I thought that's infanticide.
I know. All credit to the moderator,
Rachel
Lindsay. I know it's 2 first names. Lindsay.
Yeah, Rachel Lindsay, I think.
Rachel Lindsay, right. All credit to her. Just with a perfect fact check, just a perfect bite. She just went, there's no state in America where that is legal. Moving on. It was just like, it was so fresh and minty. I was like, well done, man.
No, she brought it. Yeah. And she just kind of turned her head and went to Kamala.
That was it. That's all that has to be said. That was a bold-faced lie. And now back to the show. It was okay.
Yeah, her and David Muir, and I'm not a big David Muir fan because Lindsay Davis. I'm sorry, we were saying Rachel Lindsay. Lindsay Davis, that's her name.
Lindsay Davis.
Sure so her and David Muir, they did much better than the CNN too. What's Dana Bash and the other guy?
Dana Bash stays fucking up. Dana Bash. Yeah. She interviewed Trump before, remember? And Trump was like, he said something, I can't remember what it was, but he said something on the level of they're going to have abortions in the 9th month. And Dana Bash's famous reply was, wow. She gave him the Owen Wilson. Yeah. Okay, well, if that, Jesus Christ, it's going to be hard to fill 60 minutes with that.
So Dana Bash and Jake Tapper did a horrible job. CNN should never host another. They need to let Lindsay Davis and David Muir host them. But I thought that was funny when he said that, because she immediately goes to she becomes very stern. She said, "No one nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. This is not happening. It's insulting to women of America." Yes. And then she goes on and says, "One does not have to abandon their faith their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree with the government. Donald Trump certainly should not be telling a woman what to do with her body."
Yes.
And I thought that was really, really good.
It made it really put a face, and it was Donald Trump's face, uncomfortably close to a lot of women's wombs.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants that face that close to their uterus. And she put it right there rhetorically, which was really smart.
Yeah. And then he tried to justify, because he argued, appointing the Supreme Court justice to overturn Roe v. Wade was a genius move. He said, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. So it's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And I'm all like, this fool is an idiot.
Yes.
For him to even say something so asinine. That was an asinine statement. This whole, look.
It's hard to unpack. Yeah.
Well, again, this is something I tell my students. Anybody who's selling states' rights were the segregationists in the 1950s.
Be very afraid.
Yeah. Because now, and Kamala Harris said this in her argument, Now women, those who are living in states where there's you can't have an abortion, have to travel, and a lot of these women don't. It's poor women. They can't afford to do
It's
that.
always going to be poor women that are hit first.
Yeah, of course,
Every time.
of course,
It's always the most
and
vulnerable, like any
yeah,
policy. It's
yeah.
we got to think God, that was a very important word I learned in college that I'm now forgetting. Oh, you know what? Let's move on. I'll come back to it. It starts with an
Okay, you
I,
said
and it's a very important word that I'm not remembering.
no. It was
Intersectionally. Thank you.
okay. Yeah, the intersection of yes.
Think
You're right.
intersectionally. These policies
For
affect people deeply, and
yeah. Well,
poverty
and it,
plus racial bias plus gender
plus
bias plus
gender. Yes, right.
just
Yeah.
as you it is.
Which white women don't realize. It's like, do you not understand? If you're a poor white woman, that's the intersectionality of it. You're poor and you're a woman.
Not all
They,
white women.
but
You're
no,
speaking
but
in general terms.
no. I said white women, poor white women. I said there's an
Okay, okay.
intersection of poor being poor and being a
Oh yeah,
woman.
yeah.
That's the intersectionality. A lot of times white women don't understand that. They
Mm.
just I don't think they really get it. Just like they don't understand it with because that's why they vote against it. That's why a lot of them vote
You're
against
talking
these
about
things.
white women as a voting bloc, not
Yeah,
as like white
yeah.
women. Okay,
Not just as a white woman, just
okay,
as
okay.
a voting bloc. This is why a lot of them tend to vote for overturning Roe v. Wade. And a lot of these women are stuck in religion. It's their religious
I'd
beliefs
put the
because
onus solely
'cause-
on that. I think.
yeah, no, you're right. No.
Um,
Yeah.
I think
So
the abortion thing, though, and his when he talks about it, I think it speaks to, and this is going to sound obvious, but there's two things that struck me last night that will sound like they shouldn't have struck me. One, his immense dearth of knowledge on the policies he's talking about, but I'll explain that more deeply. And then also his proximity to deep and topical racism. I didn't realize it was so chronic.
yeah,
Like, so on the abortion issue, what struck me is when he was talking about one, that he had made it possible for Roe v. Wade to be overturned as if it was a positive in the
he owned
context of
that.
what he was being asked, and then
Yeah,
on
he owned
top
that.
of that,
He owned it.
huh? Who happened?
I said he owned that. Boy, he
Oh
owned
shit!
it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I lost myself. But yeah, he look at me go. He freaking he did the abortion thing. He said, "Man, that's embarrassing. Say something and save me." I just
Oh
derailed
no!
epically.
Well, no. Yeah, no.
What are we talking about?
But,
He said he was on the abortion thing, and he said yes, he has. So he thought it was a positive that, well, I'll edit that out. He thought it was a positive that he was got it back to the states, and then he, in speaking about it, it was clear that he did not understand the mechanisms in which he had gotten it to the states, so to speak. He said through
yeah.
the Supreme Court's magic, he uses superlatives. It was clear. I was like, wow, you don't even know one, what you did, the effects of what you did, or how you did it. And then on the racism thing was the statement about the Haitians is such a recent, new, awful thing that they've put out. It's just weird that it was from this one guy in Pennsylvania straight to Trump's mouth on the national debate stage in less than 48 hours. I think that's frightening. The combo, you talk about intersectionalities of things, the combo of his lack of knowledge and his deep-seated and almost, his fervent racism is
Yeah. Oh no.
I don't need
Yeah.
to
No.
say how
You're right.
dangerous he is, but it just strikes me sometimes. It's like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, and then his whole. I read where she was not black. Then I read she was black. That's okay. Either way, either one is okay with me. That's up to her. Shut up, fool. Why are you? Again,
either one is okay with me. Are you not
problem for me.
merciful? Yeah, of course it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Yeah. I had a black girl in class today, part Mexican and part black, and I didn't know. And I said, "Well, let's look at you. You don't look. Everybody knows you're black."
Okay.
And she said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." Then she said, "Well, a lot of people think I'm Samoan." I said, "No, girl. Look at your hair. I'm not trying to be funny, but look at your hair." And I think she got kind of offended. I said, I'm telling you now, people know you're black.
Or at least
They
you
don't know
present
what
black,
else you
which
are.
is that's
Yeah, no, what she does. And And that's it. I said, people, yeah. And I said, I'm telling you now, I don't know who you're around. I don't know who lied to you, but they've been lying to you because you look black.
Are you worried when you walk into a bank? I'm not. That's how I know how I present.
Well, 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 then she said, well, people think I'm Samoan. I said, was that any better?
Yeah, that they,
I
yeah.
said, I'm just asking.
The police aren't going to go like, oh, whoa, 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 he's
Is
Samoan.
that any better?
Oh, put your taser away. That man
Yeah,
is a Pacific
yeah.
Islander.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny.
Jesus
I thought
Christ.
it was,
Oh God, we almost made a
well, I
huge
thought she
mistake,
was
guys.
funny
We
when she
almost
said
tased
it.
a Samoan. That was wild.
Yeah, yeah. Like, does that matter?
Can
That's
you
why I asked. I
imagine
said, is
if it
that
was
supposed to be better? I'm just asking.
put down your
Yeah.
pistol, Johnson? That man is.
Oh, then his rant. She hates Israel.
She hates
Yeah.
what?
Well, this is another one she said. She hates Israel. She hates Israel. If she
I
was
mean,
president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now, said Trump, to which Harris responded, that's
oh
absolutely
right.
not true. I have my entire career and life I supported Israel and the Israeli people. What got me with that was it was like he was trying to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what stuck.
Yes.
Because at this point, he's just reaching. It's
My
like Kamala Harris is married to a Jewish woman. She ain't trying to get rid of Israel.
my Aunt
I'm
Margaret.
concerned about him being president.
No, I can't. You froze, so I didn't know what was happening. But my Aunt Margaret, she lives in Ireland. And she insists that Dingle, that will be as big as New York City in 2 years, and that holds as much salience as Israel
Okay.
will not exist as a country in 2 years. It is both are.
Well, that yeah.
It is nonsense.
And we need to be concerned if he becomes president. The Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank, they won't be there in 2 years.
We can say that is a 100% assurance if he's president, and it's a non-zero chance under Kamala as well.
No, well, no, I don't believe that the Palestinians will not be there. I think
will they just live in abject horror continually?
Well, yeah, well, and
that is the liberal solution.
Well, like I told my students today, go to the Congo. I said there's a lot of places in Africa that have been going through it, and we don't ever.
But we don't sell them guns.
No. Well,
2,000-pound bombs. I mean, the day that we do, I will be upset about that as well.
Well, no, but let's be clear. We have supported nations that have historically and a lot longer have oppressed those countries. Those whole economies are tied to European countries.
I know, but I still don't know. But how's that a rationale?
Well, no, because it's for our national security.
How does that benefit? How does the bombing of Gaza help?
You're right.
I don't know.
That's my whole point.
Okay, yeah. Oh, you're saying that is their rationale.
That's my whole point. And we as Americans don't say a word. When it's happening in Central and South America, we still don't say a word. When it's happening in Haiti, we don't say a word. It's only a problem when it's in countries that present to be white. That's when I feel like we only get.
That is an excellent point.
Yeah, that's my point.
Israel, the white pearl of the Middle East.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they're white Europeans who immigrated down there, and I know Jewish people will argue with me and say they're not, but they do present as white people, especially by look from the American lens.
Certainly, it is certainly. I would say it's certainly been the goal of AIPAC to, I don't know, whiteify at least American Jews.
Oh, yeah. Well, they present as white.
Sure. Yeah.
They navigate in white spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, really. I mean,
case in point, rabid anti-Semitic Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Son-in-law is Jewish. Like that's how. That's how white it is. What I'm not saying, what I'm definitely not saying, is that Jewish people position themselves in power as a cabal. That is a right wing.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
What we are saying, I want to just differentiate it clearly.
So let me make it clear.
Anti-Semites will tolerate Jews if they present white. That is what I'm saying.
So let me tell you what I'm saying.
Yeah.
According to a Pew survey.
Right.
Jewish people in America, over 94% of them, when they go mark off the little race box, they check off white.
Yeah.
So let's be clear. Usually, if you have 51%, you would argue, well, that's majority. They're at 94%, and I've had arguments with with Jewish people in America. So this is clearly a Jewish people in America conversation. And they will say, I'm not white, I'm Jewish. I'm like, no, you present as white. You go into white spaces. I'm not talking about.
I think there's a disconnect in how people perceive what white, like when you say you're white, they don't want to perhaps not identify with that because it amalgamates them with Germans, but what's
I'm not calling.
Of course,
I'm
you're
not saying they're.
I think that's the disconnect. Is the important part you're saying is that
no. I'm not saying they're Aryans.
No, I know.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, so I think that's what they balk at, is that idea where that's the disconnect. It's not that you, ma'am or sir, are white. It is how you are perceived by the nation you're in, and really the state violence to that, because that's how you'll know how the state perceives you, is by the violence it enacts upon you. And you'll find.
No, you're right. And so
I'm disagreeing with you.
I have a book, and I'm
good. I have a couple. I'm fucking with you.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm glad you do. No, that's not.
That's such a piece of shit.
Okay, just in case. I have this book, and I wanted to share it, but
yes.
It's called
How Jews Became White Folks, and what that says about
what that says about race in America.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I suggest that everybody buy this book, and they also have the one about how Irish became white, how Italian.
Yeah,
they have all that, and it's usually within.
Is it the same author? That does
no, different authors, but
because I knew the Irish one existed.
Yeah, I have that one too.
Well, I mean, that's how we met. You were like, there he is.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I wanted to share that because when we talk, because a lot of times when you have this discussion with Jewish people in America, they will tell me, no, I'm a minority. Yes, you are a minority.
Yeah, you're a religious minority, but nobody sees that when they're pulling you over. That's all that matters.
Exactly. When people see you, like Jared Kushner, he's presenting as a white man in America.
Yeah, you put that cross sweater on Jared Kushner. He's a wasp. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, nobody would ever know that.
I don't know.
But a white, and that tends to be a lot of the discussion a lot of time when I'm having this discussion, because then they'll say, well, you're anti-Semite, which brings me to the question of, and I know we were talking about Trump's in the debate, but Kamala Harris won that debate. So this brings me to the question of, oh yeah, she kicked his ass. So now the question I have about that is, when we're having this discussion about the word anti-Semitism, the definition does say you're anti-Semite, like racist towards Jewish people.
I think colloquially that's what it's understood to be, but that's not.
But Palestinians are also Semites.
Yeah.
So
they are Semitic peoples. So yeah.
Yeah. So how are they? It's not anti-Semitism.
Hatred doesn't have, you above all should know that bigotry and hatred does not have to make sense. And in fact, it often does. It often flies in the face of sense. So yeah, I'm not surprised that our words to describe our bigotries are misplaced and shitty and ill-defined and constantly evolving.
Because I got into an argument with the person over it. They were like, no, it's only towards Jewish people. I said, but if Palestinians are Semites or Semitic people, wouldn't they also be anti-Semitism if I made?
Can I be anti-semantic? Like, I don't want to have those kind of arguments. I don't want to have semantic arguments about Semitic peoples. It's fucking stupid. Well, one group is getting murdered by the other, and it doesn't matter.
I do because I want to better understand why.
Oh no, I get that. Yeah.
Why this word, this definite? Because it's not true. If you're saying that, if you and I are making comments about Palestinians and it's not anti-Semitism because they're Semitic people, then.
But in the same way that when someone's being homophobic, I don't mean that they're literally afraid and running away from a gay person like it's a ghost.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that makes sense to me.
You know what I mean? It just means an aversion to, and in this case, in our modern lexicon, anti-Semitic means anti-Jewish. It's just the way.
Yeah.
I mean, since I've been around. I mean, it does. Yeah, but so many of our words don't make sense. Jumbo shrimp.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Jumbo shrimp.
The fuck? Yeah, look at you trying to make light of this because you know we're gonna get pushback on this topic. Anyway,
I just
want to better understand. I want to better understand these type of things.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I'm all about knowledge, and it has to make sense, and that does not make sense to me.
No, well, that has always been my issue with bigotry. No, you're not.
Am I seriously wrong? Because that does not make sense. It's like
no, because it's the Spider-Man meme where everybody's pointing at each other.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
somebody said something. Some comedian said, "Hey, you see those guys over there with I think it was Bill Burr. He's like he was talking about Catholics and Protestants, and he's like,
yeah,
you see those guys over there, um, with the exact same religion as you? Yeah, I hate them." And that's kind of
yeah.
what I see. And
Well,
even
no,
though
and you're right.
I know it's Muslims
And
and Jews, and
no, no,
I mean,
but you're right.
honestly, the sons of Abraham are very confused.
But yeah, but you're also
I love
right
the
too,
Christians
because
in.
no, but that's also true because when you think about it, like when I hear Protestants and Catholics, I'm like, you guys are kind of the same thing. It's
Dude,
just
I've been told when I was going to Catholic school, or when I was, well, there were Christians at the Catholic school we went to who didn't
yeah,
identify as Catholic. They were different type, but it was the school they're at.
yeah,
And then
different
they said
denominations.
I wasn't Christian and that Catholics weren't Christian, which was confusing to me. What with all the Christ memorabilia all over the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
place,
exactly.
it
That does
was
that make
crazy
that makes no
Christy
sense.
over there.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's interesting how when you're raised in other denominations, how they'll say it, this other denomination's not it's a cult. I remember when I was a kid that's what they would
That's
say
what
that
the
about.
big church calls the little church.
Well, that's what they used to say about the Mormon church. Oh, they're a cult. They're a cult. And Jesus, the name Jesus Christ is literally in the name of the church.
The only thing that makes you religion in America is tax exemption.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what sets you apart from a cult. If you're still paying taxes, you're fucking up, little church. You need to get big
No,
right
that's
quick.
definitely true.
L. Ron
That's,
Hubbard learned it.
yeah, he
L.
did.
Ron Hubbard, the goddamn Scientologist church
Right.
is
I'm
fucking
gonna be quiet.
tax exempt, baby.
I'm not saying nothing about Scientologists,
Why?
man.
Because they just opened two identical buildings side by side on the fucking freeway right out there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
man. You want to
yep.
talk about
I'm being
replacements
quiet.
and invasions? I will be.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be
Uh-huh.
bigoted
Yep.
against that cult.
I ain't say I'm not saying one day I'll tell you a story.
Yeah,
And
if
it
you're
will,
scared, say
but
you're
it
scared, man. Tell me all about
but
it.
it won't be on here. I'll tell you a story. I'll just say, yep, those side they are nice people.
Oh my God. Should I not post this? Should we not?
No, no, no. Oh, no. I think we should. I think it's funny.
Bring it on, side ties.
Yeah,
That's what I
look.
call them.
Yeah. They're gonna have Tom Cruise. You better leave.
Tom Cruise is gonna come here. He'll have Leah Remini's head in his hands. Be like, look what happened to those who came before you.
All the way over here. I'm gonna have to Leah Remini too.
Mission Impossible, convert me, bitch. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Bring your fucking little ass.
Look, we're just being facetious. And
He's
foolish.
5'6", bro. I tower over him at 5'7". Fucking little bitch ass.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say anything. Tom Cruise is a great guy. I love that Tom Cruise. That Tom Cruise is the best actor in Hollywood. Watch out, Denzel.
The Mummy was tight.
Right. Tom Cruise, boy, he deserves that best actor, Denzel Washington. Anyway, man, I think we made our point today.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is a disaster. All right.
And Donald Trump really effed up that debate.
He really did. He really did.
He screwed up, man. And I purposely didn't do visuals because I wanted to really talk about the comments that they were making because I was on the comments. I was like, Kamala Harris did a really good job. She did an amazing job.
Yeah, I give all credit where it is due, and it is due, and all credit to Kamala Harris. Well done.
Donald Trump, and you said, I'm sorry, I think that was probably one of the best presidential debates I've seen in a long time.
It was the nearest thing to a debate I've seen in a long time. At least one person was having one.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And she did it. She dragged.
And it was well moderated. And look, not a high bar in American debatery, but hey, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, man. You're right.
Also,
but
the
anyway,
whole debate
man,
format. So
yeah. Well, yeah. Let's just get rid of it. Let's get rid of the whole.
You know, I could stand having two people scream at each other for a while. I'll know who I'm going to vote for.
Yeah. Well, but you do get tired of it.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
One thing Kamala Harris did say was she was tired. She said people are tired of this behavior.
This nonsense. Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah. And it's time for us to move forward. And he kept saying, we need to make America great again. But she said a couple of times, but we're not going back. So it's funny how they were using
it was a future talk up.
Yeah. Which was good because she was talking about going forward. He's talking about going back.
She said a clear binary. It was smart. Yeah.
Yeah. No. She made her case. She was being a prosecutor last night.
Yes.
Anyway,
yes.
man.
She told the story.
Yeah,
I noticed that when she talked about in the moment you mentioned where she talked about she doesn't want that, she doesn't want that, she doesn't want that.
Yeah.
She told stories like a prosecutor, set the
Oh
stage.
yeah, she kept
Yeah.
repeating it over and over
Yeah.
again.
So
She did
good.
what Michelle Obama was doing when Michelle Obama said, uh, "Do something," and that just it was almost like she was trying to do a
The
call and
call and
response for
response.
people.
Yeah. It,
Yeah,
it
like
gets you in that mode. It
that
draws you
whole
in.
black church
Yes.
thing.
Good
I can tell you,
oration is
you've
good
been to the black
oration, and
church.
black churches have excellent oration.
Yeah,
Martin Luther
yeah.
King speaks well and
Oh yeah,
motivates people because he comes from a culture that values speaking well and motivating people.
yeah. Well, you know what, and you're right. I agree with you because, like I said, the DNC, that's what the DNC was. If you listen to like Michelle Obama, do something, Barack Obama, they all were doing things that, as a kid in the black church, it was all the stuff we were saying in church. Like Michelle Obama saw, yeah, if you have a problem, you hear them saying something bad about her, we got to get up and do what? Do something. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's the stuff
It,
we used to do in church. Like
it's
this is our
punchy.
church
You
stuff.
feel it. You're
Yeah,
there.
no, really.
You're there intellectually because the
Yeah,
prose is clean, and you're there
yeah,
emotionally because it's on up. It's giving you
yeah,
a pattern to stand with. It's
yeah.
giving something to stomp your foot. It's fucking. It works. It
Yeah,
works
no,
every
it does.
time.
It really does. And it was funny because even when Raphael Warnock was doing his, he was kind of doing the same thing.
Yes,
And like
that man
I
is
think
a
I said,
preacher. Like
yeah, oh wait, yeah, no. It was funny.
currently,
It was funny when the atheists were saying he makes me want to go to church.
bro. In
And
the
I'm an
same way,
atheist.
I can appreciate the
Yeah,
the Sistine Chapel ceiling and the David
yeah,
as a work of art, even though it's made in a religious context. I can appreciate a preacher's oration because
yeah,
fuck, man, I'm almost there, man. If it wasn't for my lack of belief, I'd believe.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, no, and that's it right there, right? It's the
Right,
whole. I just don't believe in this invisible being, and hey, and that look, but that's what makes America great. That's the part of the First Amendment, right?
right.
The, and it's the
Community.
First Amendment, which conservatives want this idea of this Christian nationalist nation. It's in the first. It literally says you cannot establish a
It
national religion.
And it's also what lets you have a church with freedom of assembly. It
Yes.
both enshrines the church as its
Yep.
own entity, separate
That's
from
right. From
government
the state.
for your
Yeah.
protection,
But they
church.
don't. But they don't understand that. That's
No,
what.
they
But
do
it's
understand it. They don't
yeah.
want the protection. They want to replace it
Yeah.
with theocracy,
But how?
which
But
they
how
don't
do
have to
you
worry
do?
about religious protection when there's only one church.
But how do you do that when the process to do an amendment and in our nation we're so divided
You
and it's
suspend
not
the
like.
Constitution
But how do you do that without
by
the people? Without the
stacking
people,
the Supreme Court.
yeah,
By
it still won't work
It won't work
because the
because
people.
luckily there's a Kamala Harris in the way.
Well, no, is but I mean, let's say there wasn't. There are people. The people are in the way. Do you
Yes.
think? Do you think the
N-
American people just stand by and why
no,
they suspend? No,
no, I
planet.
don't think they would have I don't think they'd stand by and
And
let Roe v.
I don't
Wade
think people in the middle.
overturned in a night. It took 50 years.
Yeah,
What I mean is there are some experts. Luckily, Mitch McConnell's brain fell out of his ear because we don't have him around anymore. That's why a lot of these cats are flailing. Is Mitch
yeah,
McConnell was herding the cats,
yeah,
and he's fucking brain dead now. So nobody's doing
yeah,
that. Who's
yeah.
the majority
You're right.
whip? James Comer. That guy
Yeah,
couldn't whip his own ass into
no,
shape. He's
no,
fucking
and
nothing.
yeah,
So
Johnson's holding on by a string,
these are
shoestring.
these are immensely stupid men. The biggest
Yeah, yeah,
voices, the
you're right.
dumbest voices, and that's because there's no like they used to let Marjorie Taylor Greene into certain rooms. Mitch McConnell would like direct her anger because she was the biggest fundraiser, and he'd direct her voice at just this. Here, go over there, Marjorie, and you say whatever the fuck you want to them. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
And meanwhile, me and the brains are gonna go talk to the moneyed interests while you go rabble rouse.
Robert
Now
Rouse.
it's only rabble rousing now. And
Yeah,
nobody's talking to the
right.
money interests except for the rabble rousers. That's why Dick Cheney's on board with fucking Kamala Harris, as he knows he can't make money off a Trump administration. It's
No,
fucking
not at all. No, no, you're right. No, no. Well, because Donald Trump said to take all the money for himself.
right. And it's also the reason that Kamala Harris is cozying up to the fossil fuel industry right now.
Yeah. No, well, and let's be clear. They know they're reading the bottom line like Goldman Sachs read it. This is why you're seeing a shift right now. This is why he's not raising no money. But the weird thing is for her, she's in such a good position because she doesn't need the fossil fuel industry's money. She's raising small dollars.
I know she doesn't need it, but she certainly went and got it and
She
has
sure
it
did.
from Dick
She went,
Cheney.
and again,
I understand we got to win.
telling you, the electoral college, get rid of the
But
electoral college.
you know my reticence to these uneasy alliances. I don't think they're
Well,
misplaced.
no. But I'm telling you, It's the Electoral College.
I hear
Get
you.
rid of
I know.
get rid of that vestige of white national supremacy, because the Electoral College is a racist institution. Period. The
Don't got to
only
tell me
reason why
twice.
it's there, the only reason why it's there is because of the 3/5. Why they did black people being three
The
fifths.
three-fifths compromise.
It's all part of the Great Compromise. And that's what it was all part of. It was that Connecticut Compromise, which we call the Great Compromise, because it allowed the southern states to have numbers. Because if you go back to the founding of the country, the southern states in the House of Representatives would have probably had like 34 seats.
Yeah,
Because of the 3/5
the slave
compromise,
population
it went up
outweighed.
to almost it went up to like 47, 48 seats.
Right.
So, and then you get the Electoral College. So that's why I'm trying to tell you, if Kamala Harris could just run off a popular vote, she'd be telling Donald Trump and all the conservatives, she'd be telling the Republican Party, fuck you up, I'll fuck you all. She'll be doing a double fuck you. But she knows there's the elect. She can get 90 million votes. He can get 80 and still be president of the United States.
And
He can
understand,
get
dear viewer,
75
that
and she can get 90.
the perfect point
get,
you made is with the Electoral College is the not only were escaped slaves escaped labor,
yeah,
it was a loss of political power each slave that left.
Yeah.
That's why
right.
they invented the police department to.
Yeah. Well, and if you go back before that, before there was slavery among black people using black labor as slaves, remember they had indentured servants come from Europe. The problem was when they had them come from Europe, those people work in the field for 2 weeks and they're like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Also, they have kids and they bounce,
Yeah.
you know, and you don't own the kids, and it's a lot easier when you just have direct ownership.
Well, a lot of times they didn't come with families. Some of the ones and they would run away, escape, go run into the crowd.
But with slaves, you could have your hammer and your nail fuck and make some more tools.
Well, a great identifier is skin color. That's a great identifier. And even if you read the book 12 Years a Slave, that guy was a free man and ended up in slavery.
It was 16. What year was it that it was literally codified into law, the skin color? I remember because before that it wasn't.
It was probably 1670-ish.
It was something like that, where it wasn't as a racial identifier. Yeah. It didn't really exist, and then it was codified, and that was such a bizarre concept to me, because race had always been a real innate concept I had thought to signify different people, and then to learn that it was just simply a business move it's jarring to realize that you've based. People have based opinions on skin color. You get what I'm saying. It's the origins are wild. They should have sent to.
No, you're right. No. And I that, but you're right. And it's weird and it's crazy.
It's disappointing as a human, I guess, to be susceptible to such, I don't know, mental decrepitude. I feel like
1790 would really be the year that it was codified in our Constitution.
Right.
And the Naturalization Act of 1790, which excluded Native Americans, slaves, and free blacks.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. But no.
Well, you see, blacks was an established thing. They could say blacks because they'd established like a black as an entity separate from human that could be. So it's just interesting that like they were like, okay, and I guess it makes sense. You know, it could have been hair color.
Well, the thing and the funny thing is, you say that because you were in the military. That's how they got you guys to dehumanize people. Yeah. Then it's easy to kill them. Like right. We'll call the Iraqis or the people of Babylon. We'll call them
terrorists.
Sand niggers. We'll call them sand niggers.
Some did.
Yeah, I know, because I have friends who were in the military and they say, yeah.
I have heard it. I have said it.
Yeah. Well, no, but
if I said it as a joke, I said that shit.
Well, but again,
not a really funny joke.
You were in an environment where everybody was used
and I became a product of it, and it's an embarrassment.
It's
it
funny
be anybody.
You say that too, because we were talking about that today in class too. How I was telling my students that I had a friend, her mother was like 96, and she would say colored people when she was talking about black people, and when she said it one time, somebody I was with them we were at my friend's house and somebody else was there. And they were like, doesn't that bother you? She keeps saying colored. I said, no. They said, why not? I said, because look at her. It's about context. She's not saying it to be mean to me.
Yeah.
She's saying it because when she was my age, that's literally what they said. And
Yeah.
so she's in her 90s. I'm like, she's not all there. So half the time she thinks she's back in 1920.
Yeah.
When, I said, I said, but you said it. It's different because when were you born? 1985. You should know better.
Yeah. Right.
It's
Yeah.
different. It's a context. And so I'm not saying it's okay, but she's 96. I'm not going to tell no 96, don't say that.
I think that's what gets lost on people when you say to them, like I've had the conversation with many people where I've said, Thomas Jefferson owned slaves. This is a bad thing. And I constantly, the pushback is, oh, well, that's fine because the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, we can't judge people by, he was a product of his times and it's bad. And it's like, well, no, but it's also important that a man and his cohort, all those white dudes, all those white slave owners, or slave owner allowers and apologists, all came together and made a document that founded this country.
Yeah.
And they excluded a workforce made out of humanity that they owned as chattel.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So it is not separate from his good acts. In fact,
oh, no, not at all.
Form his good. I know you're not saying that. This was a realization for myself too. His bad acts informed his most historic acts.
Yeah.
His arguably best acts.
Yeah.
But specifically excluding more than 50% of the population because it does not include women. In fact, women got the vote after men, after black men, which is its own insanity. When you consider what's deeper, the racism or the patriarchy? Holy shit. Or the misogyny.
Yeah, you're right.
It's fucking nuts. I would say it's probably the racism, as one group was owned as chattel, but I would argue that the American wife was often chattel. So
no, you're right. No. And I totally agree with you. I don't disagree. My issue when it comes to white women in America is the fact that they downplay their complicity.
Their complicity, yeah.
In order, just like
it is the complicity of a hostage, not to apologize, but I will advocate.
Well, it's almost like, but you're right. It's almost like Stockholm. It's almost like Stockholm.
Yeah,
it is. But
I mean, a lot of them are legitimately racist women. I'm not.
But to deny it and pretend like
is to deny racism is to be racist. I'm sorry.
Because a lot of time when I get in those debates with white women, because what they want to do is lump all women together, and I'm like, black women are not going to let you lump them in with them. Because black women are going to say, no, you weren't always there for us. Like like last semester, this first time I realized it, I talked about feminism. And I said, how many here are feminists? And I'll never forget, it was like about 3 Latina students said, I don't feel like I'm a feminist. I said, why not? Do you not believe in women's rights? No, not at all. White women have never been there for us. And I was shocked to hear Latina women. So I said,
not identifying with your gender as a community or group, but identifying elsewhere. That's
Well,
I don't identify with men in that way, so I get it.
Yeah. Well, it was deep because for me, I was like, I heard black women say, I've never heard like Latinos or Asian. And this whole conversation just popped up across the classroom. And I was like, wow, I never knew that's how you guys felt. So a lot of times it's not that they don't believe in women's equal right and all that. They're saying, my idea of feminism is white women, and they don't include us in the.
It's been an exclusive thing, yeah.
Yeah.
There is even a brand of exclusionary feminism right now, the TERFs, it's interesting. It would be. They would be closest to power, right? If you think of the traditional American wife back in the day, they would be closest to the power, which would be the white male patriarch. So if they splinter off, the first thing they're going to do is take care of the other American wives, not the filthy Browns.
Well, yeah, and to piggyback on that also, when we're talking about this type of stuff, like women, like these women, and a lot of times I think
I don't want this to turn into women bashing.
It's not. No, it's not women. No, it's a real conversation.
Yeah.
One that needs to be had because what is happening is when, like you said, like J.K. Rowling and all that, and the whole idea of turf and you know, real women versus fake women and all that, all of that. And it's like,
what is a woman and all that?
yeah, well, exactly.
This kind of nonsense rhetoric that means nothing.
Yeah, and it when you start doing that exclusionary thing, and that's why I tell my students all the time too. I'm always got to tell my students something. When you start excluding people, at some point it gets to you.
Yeah, and no social movement should be exclusionary because you'll need allies. If you're a minority social movement, you by definition need allies. So it's
no, we definitely need white people to be our allies.
Oh, I mean,
I'm saying as a black man, black people need what we need you guys. The problem is, and the problem I was having with that friend is, I don't need you to come save me.
Right. It's not saviorism. We need each other.
Yes. I need you to I need you
this together.
Yeah, there you go. I need you to work with me.
Yeah.
I don't need you to save me.
We're in the same boat. The water is up to the same part of our legs.
But see, Matt, a lot of times is I'm trying to bring both sides together. When Homeboy was talking about bringing black people on MAGA, I'm looking at him like, what the fuck are you talking about?
They want to erase,
man. They want to erase us. Nah, motherfucker, you shut up. And I'm sorry I'm swearing, but that really bothered me. It's like, and the shock was the fact that we have over a 3-decade friendship, and you really think after 3 decades you don't know me well enough to know that I'm going to sit there and tell you go fuck yourself? Yeah, go fuck yourself. Yeah. You know, and that's pretty much it. And it hurts that you don't know me. Yeah. Like you think
you couldn't grow with me, or just that we grew. I don't even see it as growing apart. When you go into that hole,
he got caught up. He went to
I hate to do
Alaska.
that. Yeah, people get caught up.
He went to Alaska and got caught up because when you're in Alaska, you all you get is Fox News and crazy right-wing craziness.
Yeah, it's white all year.
And he's talking about, I went up there to change their mind. Fool, you went up there and they changed you damn fool. Anyway,
that is how it's going to go. I know it from experience as well.
We need to go ahead and wrap this up.
You got to sign out?
Man, I had nothing. I was going to say goodbye this week.
Oh, you know what? We can use Donald Trump's. Here we go. The worst president in history.
And what did he say?
Oh, that's what he said.
Oh,
that's the last thing from the debate. That's it. The last words of the debate spoken. He leads in and he meant to talk about her, but all you could hear was the worst president in history.
Yeah.
He just
Anyway, man, I'll see you next week. We'll be back next week for another edition of our rant and raving. Well, because really most of it was on the debate, which I really enjoyed.
That's good. It's good. There'll be another topic to razzle. Yeah,
politics is look,
that's ever moving, ever changing, ever interesting
in real time. Real time. So anyway, man, you have a great day. I will talk to you later because I got homework to do.
Yes, get after it, man. It was fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Send it and I'll